هذه الحياة مراحل ومواقف وفواصل. هذه الحياة مراحل ومواقف.
الحمد لله رب العالمين، رب السماوات ورب الأرض، رب العرش العظيم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله حقا، وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله صدقا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. أما بعد, we covered the key rulings and issues relating to fasting and the fiqh of fasting and some of the manners of fasting also. And we spoke about those who are exempt from fasting, meaning those who aren't required to fast. Is anyone unsure about anything we've said about that? Those who are not required to fast. All is clear? Okay. We spoke about those things that invalidate the fast also. And inshallah that's clear also. Now, alongside knowing the legal side of Ramadan, it's really very, very important and very key to be prepared for the spiritual side of Ramadan. And fiqh has to be taken like this. Fiqh is not separate, the halal and haram. It needs to be taken with a pure heart, with some tazkiyah, with a purification of the heart as well. Because what we find a lot is that halal and haram is taught in and the halal and haram can be a rigid, tough topic. It's not like talking about iman, taqwa, and righteous deeds and character and so on. And that's fine. And this shows the way a Muslim ought to be balanced. Legally we're clear, rules, guidelines we're clear, and at the same time the inside is pure and sound. Not focusing on one and ignoring the other, such that a person knows the halal and the haram, and a person knows what the Prophet ﷺ said and did, but their heart is like a rock. Oh, ashaddu qaswa. That's a dangerous thing. And the Imams of fiqh and hadith of the past were never like that. Never. During the day they would teach halal and haram, and during the night their hearts would tremble in the remembrance of Allah and reciting the Quran. And even during their gatherings, they turn something which can be heavy, like the ahkam, and they can turn it into something that increases in iman. So we need to have this important balance. Now, it's very key to have a program prepared for Ramadan. And this program has to include, number one, a portion of reciting the Quran. And the Imams of the past would very often free up Ramadan just for reciting the Quran. Just for the Quran. Looking at memorizing and revising and reciting and its tafsir. And they might do other things, continue with their circles in hadith and whatever else, but the focus was the Quran. Because this is the month of the Quran. And Allah revealed the Quran in the month of Ramadan. On which day? Laylatul Qadr. What we recited just now in Salah. Inna anzalnahu, we revealed it, sent it down, fi Laylatul Qadr. Okay. Meaning what? Meaning it started its revelation in Laylatul Qadr. Because we know the Quran was revealed over how many years? 23. Over 23 years. Okay, over 23 years. So it started off Laylatul Qadr and was revealed over the 23 period of the prophethood of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala, the famous Imam, would recite the Quran once a day during Ramadan. And some of the Imams are narrated to recite it 40 times during Ramadan. How long are they spending on the Quran then? The whole day. Almost the whole day. Just repeating and repeating the Quran. And Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu, who was the third Khalifa of the Muslims, says if the hearts were pure, they would never be tired from the reciting of the Quran. And the Quran purifies hearts. Quran purifies the hearts. And we need this because our hearts always become harder. Yeah? And this happens to all of us. And the best thing to soften the heart again is to recite the Quran over it and to remember Allah. If we remember one of the tabi'een, and you're going to name me his name in a minute, said when he was asked, how do I get rid of this hardness in my heart? قَالَ أَذِبْهُ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. He said, melt it with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who was this tabi'i? Al-Hasan al-Basri, good. Okay, Al-Hasan al-Basri. When he was asked this question, he said, أَذِبْهُ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. And so this is really key. And the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be varied. Okay, ought to vary from istighfar, from praising Allah, from tasbih, subhanallah, from praising the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the forgotten one. Sending peace and blessings upon the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This needs to be a daily thing, part of our routine. And there's no issue if a person wants to use a misbaha or one of these counters, and there's almost an ijma' of the salaf. This is fine, and it's narrated from Abu Hurairah and Salama radiyallahu anha. So the opinion that we might hear that using a counter, subhan, so on, is a bid'ah, is shad. It's a weak opinion. Yeah? So this shouldn't put us off. And in fact, you will find that this makes you increase in remembering Allah, because it gives you a count. If you say, for example, I'm going to say Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayhi 1,000 times. How are you going to count 1,000? How are you going to count 1,000 with your hands? It's almost impossible. So you'll find that Astaghfirullah, and you'll stop. You'll get bored and so on. So this is a way to motivate, and there's no issue with it at all. Okay, and like I said, it's from the practice of the Salaf. Back to the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. Yeah, so if a person looks, okay, 50 more. Yeah, you're clear on what you're doing. It's a positive thing to use to help you increase in your dhikr. Let's say you want to do 100 istighfar a day, 100 subhanallah a day, 100 of this, 100. Yeah? Rather than just dreaming and saying, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, but nothing gets done. It's not wajib, of course. Of course, it's not obligatory. It doesn't mean a person has to do it. And we're not saying it's a zina, it's a decoration, as we see today as well. Okay, let's carry it around the neck, or let's carry it in the hand, talk whilst we're moving it. That's not what's being said. Yeah? Or even to show off at times. Yeah, if you're going to use it, then maybe hide it in your pocket or whatever it is. Like we said last week, to make ikhlas as pure as possible. But the idea of using it in and of itself is absolutely fine. On top of that, there needs to be a portion of encompassing dua all the time. Encompassing dua. And one of the things, what are the things that prevent us from making dua? What are the things that make us give up on dua? Yes?
Shaitan.
Okay, shaitan. What else?
Laziness.
Fine, laziness.
Dua is not being answered.
Okay, dua is not being answered. We don't see the effect. We don't see a direct effect.
Eating haram.
Huh?
Eating haram.
Okay, good. That's a reason for dua not being accepted in the first place. But for us, being too lazy to make dua, one of them is we don't see the effect. Number two, we don't see it as an act of worship. We look at dua as I benefit from dua. So if I don't see a benefit, if I don't get the dua accepted, it means I've wasted my time making dua. This is a major mistake. This is a major mistake. Just like you say, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. You don't say, where's the food, where's the money, where's the rain. You say, that's a dhikr, I want reward on the day of judgment. Dua is the same. Oh Allah, give me such and such. Oh Allah, increase my health, my wealth, make my family pious, etc., etc. That's a reward on the day of judgment. That's a key element to understand. Because otherwise we give up easily when we don't see immediate effect. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says you'll be answered, your dua will be answered. مَا لَمْ يَسْتَعْجِلْ. The dua of one of you will be answered so long as they don't rush. Then the Prophet ﷺ described what rushing means. He said, one of you says, I made dua, and it was not accepted. That's the rushing. Okay, that happens. That's the rushing that happens. So this is a key element. Dua is to be made constant for us. And there is no limits or boundaries to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes, some people think, I'm only going to make dua for one thing. So if I make dua for 10 things, then this decreases the likelihood of this one being accepted. Like there is a limited amount of questions you can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not human being we're asking. If I want to borrow £10 from this brother today, and I want £10 next week, and I want £10, I'm going to say, okay. If I ask 3 times, that's too much. So I'll ask this week, I won't ask next week, and I'll ask the week after that. Maybe it'll work with a human being, that mentality. But we're talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, so these ideas don't come into play. We don't say, okay, I'm going to ask Allah to give me education. Now I'm not going to ask for this. Because if I ask for this as well, then it weakens the dua. It doesn't weaken anything. You can ask for this sincerely, and this sincerely, and this sincerely, and the list can go on as you wish. And Allah wants us to make dua, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He answers the dua. And He rewards us for making dua. So can we ever lose out on making dua? Never. Never do we lose out on making dua. A further point is salah in the masjid during Ramadan as much as we can. Salah in the masjid during Ramadan as much as we can. What we see very often is that the masjid is absolutely packed to the roof. During which salah? Taraweeh. Sometimes people don't even attend the Isha. Isha and Taraweeh 2 minutes apart from each other. You'll see that people come in late just for Taraweeh, as though Isha is just introduction. The main salah is Taraweeh. If you prayed Isha in the masjid and you left Taraweeh, that's better for you than just Taraweeh. And then Isha at home. Yeah, so this is a key element to understand. Or the masjid is empty during the other prayers, Dhuhr, Asr and so on, and it's filled in during the Taraweeh. That's again something we need to pay attention to. طيب, i'tikaf, when does a person make i'tikaf?
Last 10 days.
Only?
The last 10 days.
The last 10 days, okay. That's the best time to make i'tikaf. When does i'tikaf start and end?
Never stop.
Yes, this is an important point. I'tikaf has no start and no end. I'tikaf could be today. And in fact, the Hanabila and the Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, and the Imams say, now, us here, if we intend i'tikaf, it's i'tikaf. He says there's no minimum for i'tikaf. There's no minimum time. And there's no day for i'tikaf. It can be in Ramadan, outside Ramadan, like Umar radiallahu anhu did. Outside of Ramadan, made i'tikaf. Okay, when he said to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I made a nadhr to make i'tikaf. He said then, stick to that nadhr, make i'tikaf then. Outside of Ramadan. So we need to pay attention to this, to the extent that if we are going to sit, for example, let's say sometimes a person wants to sit between Dhuhr and Asr in the masjid. This is an i'tikaf in the masjid. Also, the final day i'tikaf, the final 10 days of i'tikaf, which is the practiced sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. First of all, it's a sunnah. Second of all, we just said now, what's the minimum amount of i'tikaf? There isn't. So can a person make i'tikaf on the 23rd only? 23rd night? Yes. Lots of people leave i'tikaf for the whole 10 days because on one of those days they have work. One day you have work, do i'tikaf for the rest of the days. Okay, or one day I won't be able to attend because of this, or I'm going to be busy, I have to work. Okay, go work and then come back. Go back to work, come back, go back to work. There's no issue whatsoever. There's no issue whatsoever. Okay, how can being in the masjid of Allah, being in the house of Allah, be something you need to be concerned about and not sure about? This is a good deed. Latch onto it. Okay. Now, when it comes to some of the mannerisms of during Ramadan. Some of them relate to suhoor in the beginning. Taking suhoor, we said, is that a condition for the fast?
Sunnah.
It's a sunnah, it's not a wajib. So if you don't have suhoor, is your fast correct?
Yes.
Fast is still correct. The intention is what makes the fast valid or invalid, not suhoor. Okay, suhoor is a sunnah the person should have. And remember we said suhoor is a sunnah in and of itself, meaning even if you don't want to eat, I don't know how many plates of food, have one sip of water just to say, okay, suhoor is a sunnah, I'm going to achieve that sunnah. One sip of water. That's it. Yeah, remember we said suhoor is not fuel. Suhoor is not fuel for the day. As though you have to fill yourself up so that you can last for the rest of the day. And by the time you get empty again, iftar time you fill up again. Yeah, that's not what suhoor is. Suhoor is following of the sunnah. Yes, there is the benefit, of course, of having some food beforehand to prepare yourself for the day. Doesn't mean that's not there, but it shouldn't be the only idea behind it. Iftar on time, we said, is another sunnah. When it comes to the night prayer, the Taraweeh prayer, what's the maximum number of Taraweeh rak'ahs? Or the minimum? 16?
Unlimited.
39.
Unlimited. No
Remember
limit.
we said there is no limit. There's no limit to Taraweeh. Yeah, this is a key thing to understand. What's the madhab of Malik? How many rak'ahs? With the Algerians?
8.
No, it's not 8.
10.
No.
39.
11.
That means since you left Algeria, you left the madhab of Malik. 36. 36. The madhab of Malik is 36. And I don't think they practice it now in North Africa. But 8 now it's 8.
8 or 10.
8 or 10. But the madhab of Malik is 36. And that was practiced by the Tabi'een and the Sahaba before them also. There was no limit, because we said 20 was practiced by Umar. And Sahaba after him also. And 8 was also practiced. Praying 8 rak'ahs. At times they did 8, times 10, times 20, times 36. So there wasn't a limit. Some people, when they see the Imams pray 10 rak'ahs, they're in shock. What's this? 10 rak'ahs. Should have done 8. Okay, or a person accidentally does 22, accidentally does 18. Or let's say the masjid wants to pray 20 rak'ahs, they say, you know what, we're running out of time, today let's make it 14 rak'ahs. Astaghfirullah, what's this? 14? There's no limit, there's no issue in there. The difference of opinion between the scholars that you'll find in the books of the fuqaha is a matter of preference only. It's not a matter of wajib. Ahmad and Abu Hanifa and Shafi'i, they don't say it's wajib to do 20 rak'ahs. They only prefer it. Malik doesn't say it's wajib to be 36. Taraweeh is not wajib in the first place. Salat Taraweeh itself is not wajib. Yeah, it's a recommended action. Okay, so this limit needs to be understood. Another concern that occurs during Ramadan is during the last 10 days, the distinction between Taraweeh and Qiyam. Okay, Taraweeh and Qiyam al-Layl. And even though the name of Taraweeh, then Qiyam, wasn't known in the past, but the action itself is fine, because taking breaks during the night prayer is a sunnah. And the Prophet ﷺ said the best of fasting, the best of prayer is the prayer of Dawood. And the best of fasting is the fasting of Dawood. We know his fast was one day on, one day off, one day on, one day off. And the prayer, and the prayer also, the night prayer also, prays a portion, sleeps a portion, and then prays a portion. Okay, so this break is legislated between salah, and there's no limit to the break. So a person needs to think before they stand up and say, what's this bid'ah of Qiyam al-Layl during the last 10 days? No, it's all one prayer. It's all the night prayer. Taraweeh, Qiyam al-Layl, it's all the night prayer. Yeah, there's no real difference between them. Okay, are we clear about this issue? That the night prayer that we pray, or that we see that most of the masajid pray, Qiyam al-Layl towards closer to Fajr time. So they pray Taraweeh and take a break, and afterwards they come back for tahajjud, what they call tahajjud, what they call Qiyam al-Layl, what they call whatever the masjid calls it, whatever they call it. The point is, it's all night prayer. It's all the same. Okay, it's all the same prayer. The only difference is there is a gap in between. Okay, and like we said, the taking of a gap during tahajjud is legislated. No one has said you have to take 5-minute gap only, no more. The gaps are free for people, and in fact, especially in Taraweeh, because Umar radiallahu anhu and the previous companions before and after him also would change the number of rak'ahs based on what suited people. And this is really important for the masajid and those who lead prayers, etc., to understand. Okay, a lot of the night prayer, especially in the UK, where Taraweeh is very late, this needs to be kept in mind. Let's say on one day the Imam took so long in the first 2 rak'ahs. So long. Do we have to finish 8? Do we have to finish 8 rak'ahs?
Depends.
No, we don't have to finish 8. Make it 6 that day, so that you don't finish up at 2 a.m. in the morning or 1 a.m. Yeah, so this needs to be understood. So, just like the companions would change the number of rak'ahs for the sake of whatever they found is good for the people. Similarly, taking this break in between what we call nowadays Taraweeh and Tahajjud, there's no issue in that gap. Like, why the 10 days only? 10 days, it can be done before the 10 days, there's no harm, but it's chosen specifically in the final 10 days now in our community, only because Laylatul Qadr is one point, and because the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam كان يحيي ليله في العشر الأواخر. So during Ramadan, he might sleep a portion of the night, but during the last 10 days, he would be keeping the night alive with worship and salah and so on. So that's why the last 10 days are there. I just wanted to clarify this point because maybe some, because now we hear all sorts of things, so it's important to be clear on that. Okay. When it comes to, is anything unclear about what's been said so far? When it comes to Taraweeh and any gathering around Muslims, it's very important to know how to prioritize, to give priority to which thing. So, now, what are the 5 ahkam in the Sharia, the 5 rulings in Sharia? Something in Islam can either be wajib or mustahab or makruh or haram or halal. What's the word that's used?
Jaiz.
What's the more technical term? They don't say halal or jaiz. Mubah. Okay, that's the more commonly used term. And mubah means permissible. No sin, no reward. Now, can mubah change and become recommended? Can a particular action? Give me an example of mubah. Drinking water, is it mubah or mustahab or makruh or haram or wajib?
Necessary.
Drinking water. Because everything we do has a ruling. Sitting like this has a ruling. Sitting like this has a ruling. Okay, looking here has a ruling. Saying something has a ruling. Oh, everything has a ruling. Drinking water, what's the ruling on drinking water?
Wajib.
Wajib. So I'm committing a sin now. Mubah. Drinking water is mubah. Okay, let's say I was fasting all day and I want to break my fast and drink water. This drinking of water is?
Haram.
I fasted and I want to break. Okay, fine. Drinking water whilst fasting is? Haram. Drinking water to break my fast is? Mustahab. It's not just allowed, it's mustahab, it's recommended. Drinking water to save my life or the life of someone else is? Wajib. Okay? Drinking water is wajib. So see how this was mubah, but because of circumstance it changed to this, and it changed to this, and sometimes this, and sometimes that. Okay? And so this is key. What's the ruling on praying in the front row? Mustahab. Okay, it's not wajib, it's mustahab. What's the ruling on harming someone to get into the first row? Haram or makruh. Okay, depending on the type of harm. So people need to pay attention to this. You have sometimes the row in Taraweeh is so tight, and someone says, Bismillah. Bismillah where? It's as tight as a brick. Where do you want to get through? But he wants to squeeze through and make it tighter. And once I saw in one of our local masajid, this was the Qibla was this way. And the whole front row was praying this way. Because it was so tight, everyone had to turn like this. Everyone was turned like this because it was so tight. And so everyone's facing this way. And you look at the front row and they're all facing in that direction. And the Qibla's here. Okay, because they've made it so tight for each other. Yeah, it's astonishing. You look and you think, what's going on? The whole row facing that way. So now something which was a sunnah has turned into no more sunnah, it's a bid'ah. Okay, so everyone's facing this way. If because of this person who wants to make things tight, or a person wants to set up a tent on the front row. Some people, they bring their luggage and clothing and their hats, toothbrush and everything.
To reserve the place.
To reserve the place for the whole month. Some people reserve for the whole month. And you sit in the masjid sometimes from Dhuhr till Maghrib, okay, or before Dhuhr till Maghrib, you see the camp is still there and the brother's not back yet. And he's not back, he's just leaving his stuff there. So when it comes to Taraweeh, the only time he comes to the masjid, my tent is there. Yeah, and I can come in and take that place and pray.
Can we remove it?
Yes. And this is a point. Those in authority in the masjid, or even when you know that somebody is doing this for such a long period of time, take their stuff, move it. Simple as that. Because they have no right to do such a thing. They have no right to do that. And this is something to understand. So now this person thinks they're doing a sunnah, and they're not doing a sunnah at all. There is no sunnah. This is sinful, if anything, for you to leave your things there. Now, that doesn't mean straight away we move people's things. Because if a person sits down at the front row, then goes to make wudu or to use the bathroom, and then returns, who has most right to that place? This person, the person who left to make wudu and come back.
Because he was there.
Yes, it's his seat. And the Prophet ﷺ explicitly said this. The one who has the seat first is more entitled to it. Yeah, you don't, especially some of the young ones, wait for you to leave. And they're watching. As soon as he stands up, taking your seat. No, that person has the right to that seat. That person has the right to seat. The only time they don't have a right to that seat if they leave it for a long period of time. Okay? They leave it or they reserve it without being there in the masjid. Someone passes by during Maghrib time, let's drop off our stuff, carry on home. Have iftar, then come back. No. Okay? None of that kind of things. This is key to understand. And we said this, maybe I didn't mention it, same with tawarruk. What's tawarruk? Who can show us how tawarruk is done? In salah? How do you do tawarruk? In tashahhud? In tashahhud? Yes. لا, in tashahhud. When you're sitting down to make tashahhud? Okay. Okay, good. So there are two ways of sitting in salah, yeah? This is the way you sit right at the end in tashahhud, according to some scholars, and sit up normally with normal tashahhud, okay, with the right foot being up. That's called iftirash, standard way of sitting. Tawarruk is a sunnah at the end, okay. If the space is tight, the tawarruk that was a sunnah now becomes makruh. It becomes makruh, disliked to do.
There's no space.
Because there is no space. And the number of times I've prayed like this, because someone's performing tawarruk, he might as well lie down on me. Yeah, because they're making tawarruk during salah and the space is quite tight, and a person is leaning like this. Harming a Muslim in your row is not a sunnah. Yeah, if anything, it's prohibited or disliked. So we need to be able to appreciate this. Okay, the space is tight, take the front row. Jazakallah. And Allah will reward you for your intention to want to be in the front row. What better is there than having the front row and making life easy for the Muslims and making life easy for yourself? What more is there than that? Or the alternative is forcing yourself into the front row, being not having any reward, making life difficult for yourself, and making life difficult for the Muslims. How can someone come? Yeah? People are like, sometimes when it's tight, you feel anger in salah. Subhanallah. Salah, someone's reciting the words of Allah and you're like this. Okay, yeah? It's becoming like a battleground. Yeah? And that's a major, all of it comes because of not knowing how to prioritize. Okay, fine, this is sunnah, but not now. Now it's not the time. Okay, yes, normally I should, but now it's not the time. Yes, I should do this, or I shouldn't do this. Now we'll allow. Okay, there needs to be an understanding. Yeah, there needs to be an understanding. An understanding based on the Sharia, because we don't open this up and say whenever you want to, whenever you think is good, make your own ruling and act how you wish. No, an understanding based on the boundaries of Sharia, and Islam has laid it down. The scholars have clarified and explained it now.
Do you get the same reward if you give up your first row, so you say to someone else, out of politeness?
Like the scholars actually say that a person shouldn't do that. They say the person shouldn't do that for no reason, such as just wanting to be nice, for example. It doesn't suffice. But let's say there's a dispute. You had the seat first, and someone says, "Brother, this is my seat. If it's going to cause a freak, take this." Now it's recommended to allow them to take that seat. But you're in the front row and you look around and, "Brother, you come and take the seat." Then that we say that don't do that. With the exception of maybe another imam, if there's a second imam, so that you can help to correct in the salah or such and such. But as for generally like that, then there's no need. It's not haram, okay, but it's to be avoided. Okay, we won't be too long. A final point to note on as we're approaching Ramadan, and this is our last lesson, inshallah. On the preparation for Ramadan. It's important to hold our tongues as much as possible during Ramadan. And it's important to keep away as much as possible from errors and sins and things that damage our hearts during Ramadan. And even things that are permissible, but they will have a negative effect on the amount of reward that we take in during Ramadan, like too much eating during iftar. This is going to ruin the whole night for us. Yeah, too much eating will ruin the whole night. And we know this, all of us know this. Because all of us have tried it. And it's not good. Okay, having too much food at iftar, we come to salah, tarawih, we won't be able to focus, we won't be able to remember Allah, we won't be able to think straight, okay, we won't be able to stand properly in the first place. Okay, and it's a harmful thing. Same with committing sin. It's astonishing, amazing, a person can commit sin, and they have an aim to recite the Quran later. Okay, or they're going to say, "I'm going to recite as much Quran as possible," but they're disrespectful to their mother or father. These are two things that don't come together. They don't come together. So it's important to have, if a person wants to be successful, if we combine between keeping away from sin and doing good deeds, that's the success. No success after the success. There's no success after such a success. A person not only keeps away from sins and does good deeds to add to this, that's target achieved. That's target achieved. Because we do good deeds, we want to do good deeds, and the sins are damaging us. And I might have told you previously about the story of one of the shuyukh who used the example of the bird who was attached to 100 strings. A bird was attached to 100 strings. Can this tie to 100 strings? Let's say to this chair. Can the bird fly? There's no way it can fly. There's no way. It's tied. Let's say we cut 50 strings. Cut 50 of the strings. Can the bird fly? No. Still. Let's say we cut off 99, all the strings except one. Can the bird fly? Still. Still can't fly. And this is the same example, he says, of committing sin. Okay, get away from sin, we get away from sin, we get away from sin, fine. But we need to fully, as much as possible, to the maximum, get rid of as much sin. There is no way we can get rid of every single sin ever. This is impossible. Okay, but we are talking here about sins that are major and sins that are repeated and sins that are not repented from. Otherwise, Allah has decreed for all of us to commit their share of sins. Everyone commits their mistakes. And this is something that happens to everyone. But what it means to say keep away from sin is to exaggerate in keeping away from sin as much as possible. And this can only happen if we have consciousness before we say things and do things. Always conscious. Always conscious of what we say and what we do and so on. Allah is watching me. Okay, the angels are writing down my deeds. What I do now, I will have back on the Day of Judgment. This is what I have on the Day of Judgment. Which book do we have on the day? Who's the author of the books that we receive on the Day of Judgment? On the Day of Judgment, when you're given a book, your book of your deeds, who's the author of this book? Every book has an author. Who's the author of your book of deeds on the Day of Judgment? Huh?
Yourself.
You.
You wrote the book.
You're the author.
Your deeds.
Yeah? You decide what goes in there. The angel doesn't say, no, good deed, you have to do good deed. Or no, you have to do a bad deed. You decide. Whether we want a good deed to go in there, or whether we want sin to go in there. Whether we want good words to go in there, or whether we want evil words to go in there. Whether we want respect to our parents to go in there, or disrespect to our parents to go in there. Whether we want good character to go in there, or evil character all of it is our choice. All of it is our choice. The problem is with sins, committing sins, they cover our minds, cover our hearts, so that it's as though we don't have the choice. It's as though we don't have choice. But once we cut off these strings of sin, we become in charge of our nafs. We say to it, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you won't do this, you will do this. And this is when we can be true authors of our books in a good way. That's all that I have to say. And I don't want to take too long. Usually I like to repeat and repeat and repeat things over and over again to make sure that it sticks. But I don't want to overburden or make people more tired than what we already are. Does anyone have something that they want to add? Something that I missed out in the last couple of weeks that should be mentioned? Okay. Allahu a'lam, sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah.
I've got a question here, and I've got it. You know you said that the reservation was seen at the top. If you have a few